Morning, members of council. I would call this meeting to order. If you could take your seats, please. Please feel free to join me in a moment of reflection. And please keep in your thoughts David Onley, Hazel McCallion, and Tyree Nichols. Thank you. We are currently located on land which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange among the Mississauga peoples and is the traditional treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nations. We honor, recognize, and respect this nation and its Indigenous people as the traditional stewards of the lands and waters on which we meet today. Mr. Clerk, no need for roll call. I can attest that all members of council are present. Members of council, there are a number of things happening here at the region. And first of all, I'd like to start with today that we are honored to recognize the beginning of Black History Month in Durham Region. The theme this year is Together We Rise, Excellence Through the Arts. Black History Month is a time to honor the enormous contributions that Black people have made and continue to make in Canada and in Durham Region. It's about recognizing and celebrating the strength and innovation and determination to work towards a more inclusive and diverse Canada. Tomorrow, February 2nd at 6 to 8 p.m., Durham Region and community partners will come together to celebrate Black History Month with a keynote speaker, Cameron Bailey, CEO of the Toronto International Film Festival. This evening will showcase artistic displays with live music performances and more at the Robert McLaughlin Gallery in Oshawa. We can show our support by attending this event. Let's all take time to reflect, learn, and come together for an enlightening and educational Black History Month. For more information, you can go to durham.ca/Black History Month. Also today, we are joined by Durham Region Hospice and Oak Ridges Hospice, and they're in the lobby if you get a chance. There are people out there, and there are some displays, so please go by. And finally, we have a staff event today starting at 1 o'clock. So there will be lunch available after the committee meeting is over, I hope. If not, we'll break for lunch. It will take place in the cafeteria, and it starts at 1 p.m. And feel free to join us and celebrate Black History Month right here in this building. Mr. Clerk, I'm going to ask you to give some clarification on the rules for today's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is the first meeting of council operating under the new procedure bylaw that was adopted in December. I just wanted to draw attention to one particular rule change going forward. Questions in relation to committee reports for items that are not on the committee report should be submitted to the clerk's office in advance by email. We did receive one question. We have not received any others, and I think going forward, we will have some leniency if questions come up to begin. However, in future meetings, we will be requiring questions to be submitted in advance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. And before I go to declarations, I want to recognize one of our staff members, Ian McVeigh, and I don't see Ian in the room, but Ian received the academic award from the University of Western Ontario for earning the highest average grade among the entire graduate diploma in public administration graduating class. This is a rigorous program for mid-career government professionals to build policy, management, and leadership skills. This is an incredible accomplishment as the program attracts incredibly talented, high-performing individuals. If you've met Ian, I'm not at all surprised that Ian rose to the top of this class. When you see him, if you can congratulate him. And Ms. Austin, if you can send that message on to him on behalf of council. At this time, we'll call for declarations of pecuniary interest. Okay, Mr. Clerk, seeing none, we will move on. Members of council, I'm going to look to have the adoption of the minutes, item 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. Moved by Councillor Mayor Pietri, seconded by Mayor Foster. On the adoptions of the three sets of minutes, I will call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Members of council, there are no presentations. There are no delegations. We'll go to communications item. Item 7.1 being a bylaw to stop up close as a public highway subjected to easements required with any utility on the portion of Stellar Drive. The motion is to receive for information. I'm looking for a mover. Councillor Chapman, seconded by Councillor Lee. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Members of Council, we're on item 7.2. Expropriation of lands required for a proposed bus transit project along Highway number 2. I'm looking for a mover. Councillor Crawford, as the Chair of Transit. Thank you. Seconded by Mayor Collier. On questions related to this item? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? One in opposition, that carries. We'll move on to, there are no reports. We'll move on to committee reports. And members of council, we'll start with Finance Administration. That's located on page 61 of your agenda. Recommendations contained in item 1 to 5, inclusive of report number 1 of the Finance and Administration Committee, be adopted. Moved by Mayor Ash, seconded by Councillor Leahy. Polls. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? None. That carries. So members of council will move on to Health and Social Services, located on page 64 of your agenda. Moved by Mayor Roy, seconded by Councillor Dyes. The recommendations contained in item 1 and 2, inclusive of report number 1 of the Health and Social Services Committee, be adopted. Polls. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Before we move on, I should have, and I apologize, questions to finance. No, normally we're asking the questions be submitted to the finance commissioner prior to meetings, but today I will accept questions off the floor. But remember that in future, they'll have to be in writing prior to the meeting so that staff can be properly prepared to answer those questions. Question to finance, Councillor Neal.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to know, at the beginning when we had the orientation and everything, I was advised that Raglan and Columbus would be done within a few months. Can I have an update on that in regards to that area, in regards to broadband?
Oh, so question is...
That's with number 5.
Okay. I'm looking to... we don't have broadband staff in the room right now.
Oh, that's all right. I can get it later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. To finance, Mayor Foster.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to take the opportunity to seek some clarification on two things. On the DC bylaw moving forward, is it a fair observation that we don't know exactly what the heck to do because the province hasn't bothered to tell us what to do, but we still need to follow their rules?
I'll go to the Commissioner. Commissioner?
So, through the chair, to answer very briefly, that's correct. We are essentially going to undertake the full review to bring to committee for March for our renewal of the bylaw, because at this point in time, the information is very unclear. We are getting external legal advice that indicates that we do, based on what's there now, we do need to redo our bylaw. So, yes, you're correct. It's very unclear for some issues.
So in an effort for effective, cost-effective governance, it would be nice if the province would actually tell us how to achieve their goals. That's okay. That was rhetorical. Uh, so the second question, there was a note on the issue around the Ukrainian refugees, and I'm led to believe, and I might be incorrect, that local municipalities, Durham Region, some of the locals have stepped up to help with refugees, but the federal government and the provincial governments have been, I'm going to say, absent. Is that accurate, or am I being unfair?
No, the federal government certainly does have programs that are assisting the Ukrainian refugees. We're working across the GTHA with the other regions and with the City of Toronto to ensure that we've got a coordinated response in the GTHA. However, that group continues to liaise with provincial and federal representatives to have the costs that are being incurred by the local and regional and single tier governments reimbursed. And to date, we've had no success.
So thank you for stepping up. This is a humanitarian crisis. So to our staff, and frankly to our taxpayers, our local taxpayers that have taken on a burden that we needed to. And I do hope that the province and the federal government do what they should be doing. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Collier. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Just questions to admin on the new procedural bylaw. I believe we've removed the requirement to stand when speaking.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. For the questions, is it just 2 questions submitted in advance under other business, or do we need to submit questions on actual recommendations in the reports?
The questions are to other business.
Just to other business. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, seeing no other hands, we'll move on. Health, questions to health and social service. Councillor Neal. Sorry.
I guess lately it's been in the news that there's going to be some voluntary regulations. Does that have anything to do with the region in regards to our long-term homes?
We'll go to the commissioner. I think the question is related to the 4 hours of care.
Through the chair, the new regulations that I believe you're speaking about, Councillor, are the federal ones that were released the other day. They're not regulations; they're really recommendations for the province to consider for our long-term care homes. We have the Fixing Long-Term Care Act that was implemented last April. It became live last April, and we've been working through ensuring that we're compliant with that act. And that act includes the 4 hours of care that we've been aiming towards.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to planning. Moved by Councillor Chapman, seconded by Councillor Pickles, that the recommendations contained in items 1 and 2, inclusive of report number 1, Planning and Economic Development Committee, be adopted. Polls. Mayor Collier? Okay, thank you. Seeing no polls, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Questions to planning. Mr. Clerk, seeing none, we'll move on. We'll move on to works. Moved by Mayor Barton, seconded by Councillor Miriam Pietri. The recommendations contained in items 1 to 7, inclusive of report number 1 of the Works Committee, be adopted. Polls. Just give me 1 second. Okay, polls. Mayor Collier. Item 3. Any other polls? Seeing none on the remainder, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Mayor Collier on item number 3.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Mr. Presta. I just happen to see this go forward, but what I'm wondering is, are we going to use this opportunity to collect this for baseline data, given Bill 23 and the now intent of the provincial government to twin the pipe and bring the sewage from York to now off our shoreline? I think it's very important that we collect baseline data so we can very clearly go back when this occurs and show if there is any change. I just wonder if that's part of the intent of this now.
Commissioner?
Through the chair, yes, York and Durham started this monitoring program during the environmental assessment, and this is just a continuation in order to do exactly what you say, monitor the water quality in the near shore, so it could be observed and there's evidence of any changes.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. On the item, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. We'll move on to, pardon? Oh, sorry, questions to works. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, we'll move on. We'll go to committee of the whole report located on page 72 of your agenda. Could I get a moved by Councillor Chapman, seconded by Mayor Collier? So just give me 1 second. Okay, polls. Mayor Foster,
Item 3, please.
number 3. Any other polls? Okay, we'll call the vote on the remainder. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Item number 3, Mayor Foster.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And a question through you to the CAO. Under the government relations, and I know that you, I, and Mayor Asher are having a conversation tomorrow. We had spoken very briefly about, I'm going to say, lobbying efforts and communication efforts that the Canadian Association of Nuclear Host Communities needs to undertake to recognize that host communities are on their own, Durham Region, Pickering, Clarington, in terms of making sure that they are appropriately recognized. So members of council may not appreciate that there is no requirement, nor any body in Canada that takes a view to the socioeconomic impacts of being a host community. The CNSC does a fantastic job of maintaining safety and security. We are, frankly, in competition with the provincial government. Internationally, typically these things exist. So I would hope that we can have a conversation, perhaps look at funding for CANAC and from other CANAC members to ensure that current host communities, there's going to be a lot going on in Pickering. We've got the small modular reactor coming to Darlington as well as other communities, but that there is an ability for us to make sure that our communities are made and kept whole. Is that doable?
Yes, I believe that was primarily the reason for the meeting tomorrow, so we can definitely discuss strategies and ways ahead at that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to add to this item? Seeing none, then we'll call the vote on item number 3. I'm sorry. Councillor Yamada, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I guess through you to staff, understanding that we have sourced an outside lobby group to help us with our strategy going forward with, if I remember correctly, an RFP for lobbying efforts. What will success look like? Because I want to see, so if we're going to spend the money, there's got to be measures of success. And the fact that there is no provincial election this year means that maybe the province isn't willing to move on some of these things like they would if they wanted to save seats in an upcoming provincial election. So for me, if we're going to spend the money, we've got to see what success is going to look like.
I'll start and then perhaps Ms. Austin will jump in. But first of all, going forward, unfortunately, we had to cancel our briefing because of the snowstorm on the Go East extension, and that will be rescheduled for this month. But we very much need support to get the province to advance the strategy for station construction in the Go East. So that would be one of the primary factors. There's a list of priorities in the report, and there are outcomes attached to each of those priorities that the consultant, the intergovernmental consultant, would assist us in achieving. To date, date, they've been very helpful in advancing the Go East. They've also been very helpful in raising concerns and issues around funding for long-term care, specifically our Seton facility, where we did in the end get extra resources. So there are very clear outcomes, and I think this the firm that's successful in the RFP will be critically important to us as we go through the Bill 23 and 39 process and work with the provincial facilitator that will be assigned to the region. So there's a lot of activity going on provincially with the region right now that we really need the support on.
So then, once 2024 rolls around, these priorities for 2023, will we sort of see a report come forward that shows us here's what we wanted to achieve in 23, here's what the outcome was? Because again, it's value for taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely. We report annually on our intergovernmental relations work, both what we do ourselves as staff and what we work with our intergovernmental consultants on. So you'll be receiving a very similar report with the outcomes for 23 and the objectives for 24 next February or January.
Thank you. Councillor Nicholson? No, you turned your microphone. Okay. We'll turn it on for you from here. So,
to get used to the two systems we have in different councils, Oshawa is the exact opposite. So, just the question I want to put here is that this is an interesting report on finding out we had 15 meetings, and I'm finding out after the meetings that we had them. Is there going to be, as this process evolves, a regular update given to council, rather than just once a year, as to when the meetings were held, who attended, the synopsis of the items raised, and any response? Because as the report says, this is an elected official to elected official process, except 28 elected officials don't know what you're doing until you get the report at the end of the year. And even this report doesn't tell us what you brought up. It gives us just a broad title. So is there going to be some accountability process to basically inform the council of what the items were raised, when, and what responses were received?
We are certainly happy to do additional updates. What we should remind council is messages and strategies that we take forward to the provincial and the federal government are based on reports to council with very clear recommendations. It's not simply staff advocating one way or another. It's generally council priorities and decisions that we are working with our consultants to ensure that they move ahead. But we are always happy to provide more regular updates if that's what council would wish.
Well, the concern I have is that, we also, as elected officials, have regular interactions, especially with provincial members. If we don't know what, say, occurred in March and we meet with somebody in April, we can't back up the approach because we don't know what was put. Secondly, we don't know, unless we're told what was raised, whether in fact the council's directives were the ones that were followed. The part of transparency and accountability is you have to report to someone. And that's the same for all of us. If you don't report, how can we test?
Again, Councillor, we're happy to report additionally if required. I do want to remind Council that when we have a key intergovernmental issue, you are often provided with briefing notes and speaking points for your interactions with other government partners, and we're happy, and we will continue to do that. But again, if council would like quarterly updates, we're happy to do that. We could do it either through a council report or through the CIP.
Okay, and to which standing committee would the report flow through to, or would it be spread across all standing committees?
It would likely be committee of the whole.
Committee of the whole. So we would get a chance once a month to ask questions on this.
I think once a month we probably would not have a whole lot to report. I think possibly quarterly would be more effective.
Fine. We'll see what the first one looks like. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Neal, I know you want to be on the speakers list, but you need to push your request to speak button. Okay, I'll come to you after I go to Councillor Miriam Pietri. Councillor Miriam Pietri.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning to you and Council. I have some questions I just wanted to ask. Specific to this item, do we know the individual? Because it's in the report, but just for the general public, do we know the individual that will be representing or the firm that will be representing the region if this is passed?
We are going through a procurement process. I'm working with purchasing on that, so we don't, as of now, know who the consultant would be.
Okay. Does that firm have an individual that lives and works in the region of Durham? Or are we putting that as part of the criteria?
That is not part of the criteria. And again, I don't know who the firm will be because we're going through a procurement process. So we're awaiting proposals and we'll evaluate them based on the qualifications of those in the firm.
Okay. Question to finance, basically the sum of money that we're going to need to be able to procure this firm. What's the budget for the firm and their activities?
I can answer that question. The budget is up to $100,000 and it's included in the CAO's budget. And that actually is not before you today. It's an information report, just updating you on our intergovernmental activities and our next steps.
Okay. So just a final question before I make some remarks. And I hope that they're not taken personally. They're remarks that I would share with council and in the hopes of being constructive. Just wondering what we hope to achieve in order, to go through the process, procure, and budget the individual or the firm that's going to be working for us. What's the end game that we're hoping to achieve?
You'll see in the report that there's a number of priorities for the year. So it would be to advance the region's priorities in each of those areas. High on the list is certainly the Go East extension and getting the remaining approvals that we need, which may require some legislative changes, support in addressing the impacts of Bill 23 and Bill 39 and preparing for the provincial facilitator and ensuring that the province is aware of the region's priorities as we undergo this review process. There are outcomes attached to each of the objectives in the report.
Okay. I appreciate those questions being answered. I just come from a different philosophy and understand that this is a different approach than what we've taken in the past. I'm more comfortable, Mr. Chair, through you to the CAO and approaching things as a council. I think we've got a lot of strong proponents that have been elected to represent the community in this room. We have staff members that are quite capable. We have a number of opportunities, even outside of the scope of events such as FCM, AMO, OBRA, Good Roads. We have the ability to phone ministers and ask for meetings. I would have to suggest that my comfort level is, and we've done this before, Mr. Chair, you know that, we can organize meetings. We've done that. Reaching out to the governments as well as the opposition parties and meeting with them as it doesn't have to be me, it could be someone else. We've got a lot of strong people in this room that can actually do the work. And it's not even about saving the money. I think it's important to have someone that knows the issues in Durham. And I hear that that's not the criteria that we're seeking, that to have someone that's Durham proper at representing us. Furthermore, I think it's important that the individual be elected, because I think we're the ones, as Councillor Nicholson and others will probably understand, who will be challenged and questioned as to what the outcomes are, because ultimately we stand before the public. So I think the long and the short of it is, I would appreciate a strategy before moving forward with the procurement that speaks to how we as a council can be utilized and leveraged in order to achieve what we're trying to achieve. Because I do think, the old school way of picking up the phone and meeting face to face with ministers or their representatives in their offices could go a long way. I think it comes from a different point, a different space, a different area when you've got the chair of the region or a councillor or a chair of a department in the region that meets with the minister and basically, does what I think we should be doing.
So, Councillor, I appreciate the work that all members of council can get done on behalf of their communities and the region when they get the ability to meet with their MPs, MPPs. There are just sometimes the challenges of getting the message to the people that work within the minister's offices to get things done. During the last period of time where we used the company that we've been using now, we've been able to reach and get that messaging to the appropriate people, not just the ministers, but to the people that do the work behind the scenes. I'll let our CAO comment as well.
I think the other thing is anytime there is meetings with ministers, it most definitely is the chair, possibly the mayors, depending on the issue, or members of council that attend. What these groups do, though, is often help us position the message in a way that will resonate with the province. And to be perfectly frank, I do not think we would have had final approval of the Go East extension had we not had that company engaged. And that was the primary reason why we engaged them initially. There's no question that it is difficult to get some of our messages to this provincial government, and it's the inside expertise of these firms in terms of knowing who to talk to, how to structure the message that helps us prepare for the political to political meetings.
A second. Go ahead, please.
Listen, I don't know what the will of council is, and I appreciate, like I said, the philosophy is not one that I would subscribe to, but I don't know what council will do. What I can say is that I think that I would be more comfortable that if council is moving ahead with this, and I hope we're not, is that we're able to be a part of the discussion. I think other councillors have, spoken to one another about this. I think you heard it earlier in the meeting, in the questions that were asked. I'm not comfortable with an individual representing us and us not knowing how they're advancing the file, who they're speaking to, and what level of interest they have on it, especially considering they may not even be from Durham. So the effectiveness, I can't speak to. They're professionals, but I would suggest that I don't think that there's anyone more effective than the chair and the councillors that are elected to do this work. And if we're not going to be a part of it, I'm certainly not going to be supportive of this initiative.
So just for some clarification, when staff does meet with the current company is Strategy Corp, I sit in on all those meetings. I make sure that the positions of council, the direction that council has put forth through what we do in this room is heard by the people that work on behalf of the region. And I believe that their reach is greater than the reach that any one of us has in this room, especially with the challenges that we're having at this time. So I don't know if you want to follow that on that and ask another question. I'd be happy to navigate it for you. But I am, in my mind, on the challenges that we've had related to the GoTreen East extension alone, we would not be where we are today if we didn't have Strategy Corp working on our behalf. I can see, and hopefully you will see as council, some good news in the not too distant future related to the extension to Bowmanville. Councilor Pietri? I'm sorry, you could push your request to speak again. There you go.
Again, I appreciate that. I guess the question that would come from that for me, I'm not sure if others, but have we met anyone from that firm? Has any of this council met anyone? I mean, you have. Has anyone here met anyone in that firm? Like, officially?
I would imagine so. They're a very respected and well-known firm, but also the unfortunate cancellation of our education centre last week. They were very much going to be there to talk to you about the Go East extension, what our strategy is and what our next steps are. That meeting is being rescheduled for later in the month, and they will be at that meeting.
So they're going to be part of the procurement process that we're in.
They are coming to the end of their contract, and we are procuring for the next year. So they will be there to talk about where we are and the proposed way forward. It is a confidential session because we'll be dealing with sensitive market information, but the intent was for them to come and talk to all members of council on the intergovernmental strategy and recommendations for the extension.
Okay, and that essentially is at the end of their tenure, though. So I'm hoping that at the beginning, I don't know what council's will is, but at the beginning of whomever's tenure, I would like to have a word with them. And I'm sure that other council members around the table would like to.
That's absolutely fine. We'd be happy to arrange that.
Okay. Councillor Neal, you pushed your request to speak button twice and canceled yourself. So if you could push it again, there you go. Councillor Neal?
Yeah, so we don't know who the provincial facilitator is yet. Eh?
No, we do not know as of yet.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Crawford?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm in favor of using whoever we can that speaks the government's language, because I'm not sure any of us understand what's actually happening right now. So whoever you can use that speaks their language and gets us where we need to go, I'm in complete favor of that.
Thank you. So that exhausts the speakers list. I'll call the vote on this item. All those in favor? Okay, in opposition? There are 2 in opposition. That carries, Mr. Clerk. Members of council, if you could turn to page 82 in your agenda. This is item 10.1. It is to appoint, it's located on page 74. I'm sorry, just give me this. Yeah, 74. Okay. So it is item 10.1 is to appoint members to the Durham Land Division Committee. Please note, Mr. Clerk, that, and we'll confirm with Mayor Collier, Ajax hasn't given us Councillor Crawford, Ajax hasn't given us a name yet, but that will be coming shortly. Okay.
I asked you the very same question.
Okay. So our clerk says yes. Mayor Collier, yes. Next for our next meeting.
Yes.
No, land division is done through your committee structure.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. So on the list that's before you, I'll need a motion to appoint. Moved by Councillor Leahy, seconded by Mayor Foster. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Members of council, we're on to 10.2, page 82. This is a recommendation that Karen Fisher be appointed as a community member of the Durham Regional Police Services Board for the term of council or until such time as their successor is appointed. We'll go to, for approval, Mayor Collier. Seconded by, sorry, Mayor Foster. I don't understand. Okay. I might be missing something here, but I apologize. But I do know what the direction means, but I'm apologizing. On this item, I'll call the vote. All those in vote question on the item, go ahead, Councillor Lee. Thank you. Just give me a second.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair to, not sure who it would go to. Who was on the selection committee? I know it's in the report. Just want to ask the question for the public.
So the selection committee included myself, Mayor Roy, Councillor Pickles, Mayor Barton. There was one other member, Councillor Leahy. Thank you.
So the only concern I have ultimately is the concern I consistently bring up is just the processes that we have. I have concerns with just there was no racialized people on the selection committee, and I don't doubt. I'm not trying to challenge the selection committee. They're good people. You know, I work with all of you. But again, the concern ultimately is one of the biggest problems we have is with our racialized community, with our police force right now. And I understand, you know, Ms. Fisher has tons of experience and was probably the best applicant, but I just think I would love to see whether it's our director of diversity herself being on the selection committee, or just someone to add a different voice than just the people that were present. I think would have ensured any concerns about fairness and equity would have been addressed. And so it's just a comment that I think going forward we need to make sure we are viewing things from all lenses if possible. And I don't doubt that this is probably the best choice, but I just want to make sure that the process itself is more fair and equitable. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor, thank you. So first is Councillor Yamada.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess picking up on what Councillor Lee was speaking to, can someone speak to the process? Because I see 17 applicants. One was selected. Can I hear, like, what was the criteria that we were looking at, comparing against?
So I can start, and I'll have the clerk follow up. So each one of the committee members picked 2 candidates from the resumes that were given to us. We selected out of that, those names that we selected went to the clerk's office. The clerk put the 4 candidates together for an interview process. We received complete resumes, experience, and then we met with each one of the candidates through an interviewing process, and ultimately came up with a candidate.
Okay, so as we were going through the initial batch of applications, there wasn't sort of like community experience or like a rubric, I guess, that we were sort of looking at before we got to our shortlist.
The applications were specifically written for positions on a board, and the questions that were there that were filled out came back to us, giving us their experience, their community experience, their experience in life, academically, and then we met with them and we talked about a series of questions. We posed 6 questions to each of the candidates, and then through that discussion we came up with the selection that we made as a committee. Okay. Next in the list is Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a similar question that been raised previously. The decision on who to appoint is made by council. The interview group is only making recommendations.
Yes, we're putting a name forward.
Except you're not giving us any information. You've just explained that you received resumes. You developed a matrix of questions. You held interviews with a short list. Yet this report doesn't provide any information of what that is. We don't know what your questions are. We don't know what the applicant's answers were. But we're being asked to simply, for all intents and purposes, and I say this respectfully, you're asking 28 members of this council to rubber stamp what came out of the process with no information whatsoever. At the very least, if someone takes the time to submit an application and resume for an appointment, surely the council will get a copy of that resume. So we at least know what their offer was. If there's a matrix of questions that are being put together to ask them, council should see what those questions were. Council should see what the interviewees responded, and what was the reasoning behind the recommended person. But when I look at this report, all we know from the process, from the report before it was added today, was that we had 17 applications and we're recommending 1. And I just, this is a public position. This is the community representative, not the council representative. And if someone, again, takes the interest to offer themselves, then at least have a fair shake at saying to their elected officials at the council, here's what I'm offering. And if council agrees with the recommendation, fine. If council disagrees, that's the process. But right now, we're not getting any information to judge the veracity or the experience of any of the applicants, including the recommended one. So this whole process, I think, needs a revamp. It needs to be more open and transparent. And if you're going to ask the council to make the choice, then you have to give us the information to make an informed choice, not simply a rubber stamp.
Thank you. Next is Mayor Schumer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, when you press it again, it cancels it. So just press it once and we'll turn you on.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just to follow up to some of the comments that have been made, and they're valid comments, what would be the result if council did not approve this? What would be the procedure? What would happen?
Well, the seat on the board, Mr. Clerk, would be vacant. It would be, I'll have to go to Mr. Clerk. I just, if we do not appoint this person, the seat on the board would be vacant. And then what would be next? Yeah, it could impact the Police Services Board meetings. If we had to redo the whole process, it could take a while to get this done again. You're going to, if you want to change the process, then it will take a substantial amount of time. It will not happen quickly. We'll have to go through, first of all, we'll have to establish a process. And then, Madam Clerk, we'd have to, I'm not sure if we'd have to repost it. I'll go to the clerk.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, just to provide a bit of background and information for members, there is a council-approved policy that defines the recruitment process. It was brought forward to council in June of 2022, so it is fairly recent. It does establish the criteria upon which applicants were evaluated. If it is useful to members, we can certainly circulate a copy of that policy for reference after this meeting, just so you have an opportunity to look at it again. If, in the event council doesn't proceed with the recommendations today, we would need some direction around whether or not to conduct the process again, or if the process or the policy should be modified in some ways to address some of council's concerns. As it currently stands, the recommendations before you are here because they have followed the policy as written, and the process has been performed properly.
Well, so, Mayor Schumer, you still have the floor.
Thank you. I would think that perhaps whichever way this goes today, we might want to take a learning lesson here that we may need to put something in place just in case this is not approved today, because that would be, of course, a concern if the position is not filled and not filled for some time. And what I'm hearing is there's no official policy on what we do. So either way this goes, I think we should look at that in the event. And I don't know if that's simply, that we do go back to post again and go through the process again, or if there's a ranking of the applicants, and obviously the candidate here would be number one, but perhaps there should be a few of them. Thank you very much.
So just to be, the committee did follow the direction of council as per council's recommendation to get to us where we did today. If you're talking about going and changing the future, then that's a conversation that we can have. But this is an existing policy of council approved by the council, and how we carried out under that direction. So we didn't do anything that wasn't not directed by council. I understand the will for more information, but we did follow the approved policy.
So I'm certainly not questioning whether policy was followed. My concern is with my original question on what do we do if, and there didn't seem to be.
So I think the clerk is
much clarity there.
The clerk has noted that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, in the speaker's box next is Mayor Foster.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would point out to members of council that we just appointed a number of individuals to the Land Division Committee. Now, I know the appointment from Clarington, but I have not seen the resumes of the appointees that we just approved for that, nor did I see the list of any of the other individuals as well. If we're going to apply this for all of the people that we have appointed to committees, and we've done a lot, is the expectation moving forward that every member of regional council gets every resume, as opposed to delegating that duty to somebody else. So I appreciate some of the concerns in terms of diversity on the committee, but there's a reason that we do things the way that they do. I don't know that based on a committee, we pick and choose. So if you're doing it for one, you've got to do it for all of them. So I thank the committee for the work that they did. I thank the committee for the effort that they put in, and I'm comfortable with the recommendations of committee. And that's how this body works. we use committees to provide us the time and effort and best recommendation that they can. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson.
Thank you. Most of what I was going to have been said, but I take issue. Mayor Foster, notwithstanding, you cannot compare land division appointment with the Police Services Board. This is far more, to me personally, important than a land division appointment. So I take issue with that. And I was engrossed in that conversation this morning while you were taking the photos. That's why I had those concerns. And bear to mind, over the news, what happened in Memphis, it was a lot of it was attributed to governance. And folks come to me and say, we are not providing the governance we should. If you look at what happened with the convoy, with the officer, a slap on the wrist for, that was something that they didn't follow protocol policy, and it was just a slap on the wrist. And to me, I take this very serious. Being from a marginalized community, being black, I could not compare the appointments with other boards. To me, this is the most important appointment there is. So I take this seriously, and we all should. Things are changing. Times are different. We got to look and make sure the best possible candidate is there and look how the selection process is made. And I'm going to be very vocal about this going forward, to be quite honest. So I'm not going to belabor this because my colleagues have quite eloquently advocated the point they had to make on this before. Thank you.
So thank you. So members of council, this policy was approved on June 14th of 2022. We'll move on to the next in the speaker box is Mayor Ash.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple things. The board is very diverse. It's the most diverse it's been in a while in regards to not from this particular council, but the two representatives from the province, Ms. Bhatia and Mr. Holmes, are both from racialized communities. I don't suggest Mr. Councillor Wu is, but he looks different than me. So, and I'm going to suggest that's a good thing. I want to speak to the candidate because Ms. Fisher is represents 7 of the 8 municipalities on the lexicon board as well as a member of the board, and I think she's an excellent candidate. There's 3 new city councilors, regional councilors, Councillor Wu, Mayor Collier, and Mayor Carter, as well as a brand new citizen that was appointed by the province. So I think the continuity is important to have Ms. Fisher's background. She also sits on the Provincial Association of Police Boards. And I'll also give you a little history lesson that Mr. Nicholson might be interested in, because prior to me serving on council, I was the private citizen appointed by council on 2 occasions, and I can assure you that candidate was very qualified. Anyway, I speak in favor of the recommendation. I understand the concerns expressed today, but we have an excellent candidate. Notwithstanding, we had an excellent group of applicants. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Shahid. Your microphone's on already.
Thank you, Chair Henry. My 2 cents here. I agree with the comments that are made by my colleagues, but it's not fair on the people who put their application through and gone through the process and taken their time to fill it out and put their names in. I think if the 2022 revised, I didn't look at it. However, it won't be fair on these 17 people who put their names in. So these are my 2 cents. I think if the council should decide to review everything that they re-review everything they did in 2022. I believe in inclusion and diversity, just like all my colleagues, but the 17 applications that were put through or these applications that have been received, it won't be fair on them. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Mayor Collier. No,
I did what you told us not to do. My apologies, Chair. Mayor Zash and Foster took most of my material with regards to we followed the proper process that it applies to everything, and as well as the qualification of Ms. Fisher. I'll just speak quickly as far as the board. I feel we followed the process. If we do want to make a change, we can make it going forward, but this is the process. As to the board, it is very important we maintain the full complement. Mayor Ash has already spoken to Ms. Fisher's qualifications. I'm not surprised at all that she is a recommended person. She was an excellent board member, both on Lexicon and on the police board. I fully support it. That's why I moved it. And I think we should call the question and move on, Chair. And we follow the procedure. Thank you.
So there are only two more people in the request to speak box, and you spoke to it. So before you said call the question, so we'll just continue.
We can change the procedure bylaw, not on call the question.
Not on call the question. So thank you for the test, Councilor Mayor Roy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I just wanted, as a member of the committee that made the selection, we had excellent candidates, all of them, and it was a very difficult process to have to go through. And the conversation that's taking place around this table is the same conversation that took place between us as a group, as we looked at the qualifications, but we looked at the representation on the police board. It did not go without thinking through this process as to who we are looking at the candidates. Ultimately, the individual that's being put forward is the best individual. She was a top individual.
Thank you, Councillor Leahy.
Thank you to echo what Mayor Roy is saying there. Yeah, so again, I was happy to be the Finance and Admin Committee appointment there. First time I've been through that. And there were a lot of strong candidates, but when we went through the four that were interviewed, like there were two really strong, and then there's no question that Karen was the strongest candidate as selected by the committee. So I think we followed the process. A lot of discussion was had, and one had the concerns were raised, but the best candidate was put forward. We got to trust the committee process. She needs to be appointed, and I hope council will support that. So there's no question the strongest candidate of all the people that were there was done. And the only other thing I could suggest, if people really have concerns, that you can go on camera. We can review the top four resumes, but other than that, I think there's not much else to do. Just support the recommendation. No question.
Councillor Mayor Pietri.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. I'm not going to make comment on the candidate because I think we appointed the appropriate members of this council to make that decision, and I do trust and hope that it is the best candidate. My question simply is probably one to the process, and I think the discussion of what we've requested of the candidates and what sort of interest they bring to the table is one that I share, regardless of whom's chosen. Were any of these candidates asked pointed questions as to what they will do to advance policing? Because I speak to frontline officers. We've had, the white shirts come in and speak to us at council, but frontline officers are telling me more resources are required. Has anyone been asked what their position is on building new police stations in the region of Durham, particularly in places like North Oshawa? Have they been asked what sort of staffing that they accept, what sort of business acumen they'll bring to the table in order to advance the health and safety of those officers? What sort of questions were asked is what I'm asking myself.
Sorry. So
it's certainly related.
So sorry.
Unless there's no crime in Ajax.
So no. So on the point of order, this is a recommendation to council to approve a member that the direction that council gave us from June of last year and a process to follow.
Sure. What were they asked? Were they asked things like that?
The questions, we didn't raise the question of where we would locate police stations, but that beside this, this is a policy that was established by the council.
Yeah.
That was in power at that date. That almost a good portion, a majority of this council was part of that.
Sure.
That bill. What I'm suggesting, and maybe this will help. The clerk has heard you. This policy will have to come back to this council prior to the next election for the approval of the process to go forward for the next term of council. My suggestion would be that the clerk bring forward a process recognizing the questions that will be heard today, because you'll have to bring the policy forward, and I'm getting a nod.
Yeah.
So the issue before you right now is not the policy that was approved by the last council. It's a recommendation, and noting that the will of council from the discussion in the room, there needs to be some changes made to the process, and the clerk will address that as he brings it to us to ratify the direction probably in June of 2026. Thank you.
So on that, I just end by saying that that policy informs the individual we choose. So it is very important, and it's important that we keep in mind that it is a new police services board with the new individuals that are being chosen, and that we have new and evolving issues in our community, and a lot of them affect not just the folks around this table or on the board, but especially community members and frontline officers trying to respond. So respectfully, I appreciate the opportunity to address that.
Okay. That is exhaust the speakers list. So on the recommendation, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Members of council, if you could turn to, it's 10:31. I know we've been here for a while. Is there a need to stand up and stretch your legs but not adjourn the meeting, or just continue? Continue? Okay. We'll turn to page 87 in your agenda. Okay. This is for representation on the Durham Region Not-for-Profit Housing Corporation. Sorry. Just give me 1 second. It is a notice of motion. I apologize. So, Mayor Schumer and Councillor Jubb, are you prepared to move with your notice of motion today? Okay. So, what we'll do is, so it's moved by Mayor Schumer, seconded by Councillor Jubb. Mayor Schumer, it's your motion. Would you like to read it, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Whereas Durham Region Nonprofit Housing Corporation is a social housing provider that owns and manages more than 1,100 apartments and townhouses in Durham Region, and these housing units are located in the municipalities of the Township of Brock, the Township of Clarington, City of Oshawa, City of Pickering, Township of Uxbridge, and the City of Whitby. And whereas the Board of Directors of the nonprofit corporation consists of elected representatives of the Council of the Regional Municipality of Durham, who are selected through a combination of chairs of select committees and nominated member of council. And whereas this process of board member selection can result in no representation on the board of directors from communities in which Durham Region Nonprofit Housing Corporation operates, now therefore be it resolved that while Durham Region Nonprofit Housing Corporation is a self-governing entity, the Council of the Regional Municipality of Durham Region hereby requests that Durham Region Nonprofit Housing Corporation amend its governing bylaws to expand its board of directors to ensure that there is representation on the board from all Durham municipalities served by the corporation. And further, that following the amendment of the bylaws of the corporation, Durham Region Council appoint additional members to fulfill this objective with all due haste.
Okay. Did you wish to speak to it?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you. I believe the motion is self-explanatory. The properties of Durham Region Nonprofit Housing are important and impactful to the communities that they serve, and I guess simply in the interest of fairness and representation, I think it's important that a representative from each of the impacted municipalities be represented on the board.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Jubb, is the seconder, you wish to speak to it? Okay. Okay, members of council, my suggestion is that this should be referred back to staff, that there be a discussion with the Durham Region Not-for-Profit Housing. They are a standalone. Well, should talk to the organization. Mayor Carter.
Mr. Chair, Durham Regional Nonprofit Housing Corporation went through a restructuring in regards to the makeup of the board, brought forward to the council. It was approved at the last general meeting, and to be absolutely honest, I want to deal with it today, and I ask for a recorded vote.
Okay. Next in the speaker box, Mayor Roy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was actually going to refer this because I did have opportunity to have discussion, and there could be a solution, but I think staff need to be a part of this in order to move it forward.
So you spoke to it.
I asked for a referral first, but I did not. I need a seconder.
That's fine. Seconder on the referral, Councillor Crawford. Okay, we can speak to referrals, Mr. Clerk. So anyone wishing to speak to the referral? Okay, we'll start with Mayor Schumer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to that, I have spoken with, first I spoke with the regional clerk because I wanted to make sure I was going about this the right way. I did speak to staff at Durham Regional Nonprofit Housing who instructed me to go this route. So that is why this motion is before us. I did speak to both, like I said, the regional clerk and to staff at Durham Regional Nonprofit Housing.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Another thing that we should realize is that this previous council confirmed the changing of the bylaws and the changing of the operation for the Durham Regional Nonprofit Housing Corporation. And to refer it back to staff now to suggest that we need more folks, a board of 13, when the whole premise of the last change was to get some experts and less elected people on the board. Some people with HR experience, some people with financial experience outside of that. The other thing is that council represents councillors wherever they're from. Their fiduciary duty is to the region of Durham, not primarily to their own township or their own city when they're sitting in this council and representative on that. Durham Regional Local Housing has 7 appointees, not 9, not 8, not one from each community. They're based on chairs with expertise or influence on things like finance, social services, things like that. So I think to refer it back to staff to have this linger on as opposed to letting the Durham Regional Nonprofit Housing get on with their selection of their new board members, which they're having at their meeting next week, which we've already appointed elected members to. I think referring it is a waste of staff's time at this stage. The Durham Regional Nonprofit Housing are a self-governing entity that we do not fund, by the way. We do not fund them. We have partnership agreements with them on different things, but we don't provide tax dollars or those types of fundings to this organization. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you. I'm not going to support a referral because I think the motion makes considerable sense. If we were in a constituency or municipality that had a nonprofit board undertaking housing in that constituency, we'd want to have a voice. So to try to say we the big brother again knows better over the people who are elected to represent the communities is heading in the wrong direction. I was here when the nonprofit board was established. And to suggest the nonprofit board is not an adjunct to the region is absurd. It was founded by the region. It was set up by the region. It was established as the housing arm of the region. Yes, there's some technical amendments, but the bottom line here is, without the Region of Durham support, this company wouldn't function in the end of the day. And all we're being asked for this motion to do is to ensure that every municipality that's impacted by housing from this corporation has a member on the board. Surely that's almost basic accountability 101. And if it was Oshawa that was excluded from the board, I can assure you there'd be 6 members of Oshawa Council Stang was saying that's just not right. So it doesn't matter whether you're a large municipality or a small municipality. If the company's doing business in your municipality, you should at least have a voice and a vote. And we're not talking about the people that are running the day-to-day corporation. We're talking people who are setting the policy of the company, who are setting the priorities of the company. So whether it's 7, 9, 11, or 13, it's not going to block the company from doing its day-to-day business. But it may allow another voice to be heard when those priorities and those policies are being set. To me, it's just about institutional fairness, and I think the motion should be supported.
Mayor Foster.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm going to echo the comments of Mayor Carter. For the new members of council, Mayor Carter is the past chair and has a direct and deep knowledge of the board. Councillor Chapman was the vice chair and again brings deep engagement and deep knowledge of the board. I sat as the secretary treasurer last term of that, and all of the members actively engaged. As noted previously, and this I suppose is to a degree an extension of the debate that we just finished a moment ago, there was recognition that the governance needed to change. And this is about good governance. This is about bringing the appropriate skill sets onto the not-for-profit that we need to move forward. I will encourage all of you, if you haven't paid attention to what the not-for-profit has done over the last couple of years, the changes, the hugely beneficial changes in dealing with affordability. We've got a homeless, it's hitting the colleagues in the larger municipalities more than the smaller municipalities. But we've got a massive issue with affordability and homelessness. And Durham Region Not-for-Profit has taken direct steps to deal with that. And the changes to the governance structure are to encourage the organization and help the organization at the board level to have the skill sets needed to continue that good work. So this, frankly, shouldn't be controversial. This is not supposed to be a political issue. It's a social issue that needs to be dealt with fairly and competently. And the changes to governance, and I think we would all agree that boards are moving to appropriately skill-based boards. This was not done without a great deal of thought, and was not done in the absence of this. And in the motion, I know we are voting on the referral. I'm not going to support the referral, and I'm not going to support the motion. But there was a reason it was set up as a self-governing entity. We all know how difficult bringing subsidized or low-cost housing is to our municipalities. We've all been there. We've all had the delegations. Everyone accepts the need for those services as long as it's down the street. We've all lived through that. There's a reason that this is a self-governing entity. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dice.
Thank you. Well, I've sat on a couple of, I've sat on the Ajax Not-for-Profit Housing Corporation and now this one as well. And due to the election, the board structure was changed and business has been delayed just as we get everything together throughout the whole municipalities in order to get this board together to make some decisions. And they need to make some business decisions as soon as possible with their new board. And delaying it is not going to be helpful to the business that they conduct day to day. I'm really disappointed to see this motion come forward in a time when, we have a housing crisis for affordable and rent-geared income housing. And here we are looking at a board that, or looking at a corporation that's an independent entity that can choose their own board. Yes, there are some rules with the grants that we receive from the upper level of governments that are flowed through the region. But, they've done a really good job of accommodating regional representation. And now it was time to go out and get more community representation and people with knowledge in that not-for-profit housing portfolio. So I think it's really important that we get on with the business of social housing and get this settled. They've got some major projects going on, and that's a really great thing. It's a good news story. I don't think that we can defer this any longer. They need to do their business ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, that exhausts the speakers list, the referral. I'll call the vote. On the referral, sorry. Okay, on the referral, all those in favor? Record a vote on the referral by Mayor Carter.
Thank you. Electronic voting will begin momentarily. Please use the yes or no buttons on your panel to vote. I'm looking for Councillor Lee.
It counted down.
Thank you. Can you dictate your vote, please? In favor.
Okay, so the referral loses. Okay, then the main motion is before you. Record a vote on the main motion. So record a vote by Mayor Schumer. Mr. Clerk, when you're ready, conduct the vote, please.
Thank you. Voting will begin now.
Okay, the motion loses. Mr. Clerk. Sorry. I apologize. My screen is different than the clerk's screen, so. It's lost. It's lost. Okay, members of council, now we'll move on. There's no unfinished business. Announcements. Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chair. First things first, I would like to wish a happy 30th birthday to Kevin Ash because it's his birthday today. So happy 30th birthday. You don't look a day over 30. It's amazing. So today is February 1st. It's the beginning of Black History Month. Across the region, we have a litany of events. We have so many events, and it just speaks to our Black community and just all the come together. So one of the ones I want to point out is the one on the art gallery tomorrow. That's held by the region. I don't have the salient details with me now, but it's at the Station Street Gallery in Oshawa, I believe, as well as Ajax in Pickering are having their cultural expressions Black History Month celebration at J. Clark on Saturday, February 4th from 6:30 to 8:30. And one more I want to point out is just because there's many, on Sunday, February 12th from 1:30 to 4, there's an invitation to Black History. It's a virtual film screening of the Journey to Justice. Again, there's so many more. Those are just a few. And so please just check with your relative municipalities to find out what's happening for Black History Month. Thank you, Chair.
So, Councillor, when you said it's the Robert McLaughlin Gallery is in Oshawa, the Station Gallery is in Whitby. It's the Robert McLaughlin Gallery. Okay. Councillor Miriam Pietri.
Mr. Chair, just an announcement about an individual who served with distinction on this council for 33 years, Councillor Aker. After his passing, with the support of his colleagues, staff at the City of Oshawa, his family was honored last week with the renaming of a really important facility in the City of Oshawa, the Northview Library branch. So it was renamed John Aker Northview Library Branch, and it was fitting, seeing as Councillor Aker happened to have been the chair involved in the construction of the library, but also an ardent supporter of all things progressive, including knowledge-based industry. And that library, for those visiting Oshawa this weekend, hopefully for the OCHL's Heritage Classic, which is one of the older hockey tournaments in all the country, 75 years of operations for the OCHL. Mayor Carter and I were able to wish them well and look through some of their previous programs even find our own names in there, either coaching or playing, which was pretty cool. So if those individuals interested in visiting Oshawa for the Heritage Classic, it's at the Legend Center, Del Park now. And we have a great deal of activity throughout the community, including the library there at Del Park, as you know. So on that, I just wanted to be able to offer our well wishes to those visiting the region and the city for this important tournament celebrating 75 years of the OCHL in our community.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Schumer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to remind everybody, I know everybody's heading up, but it is going to be a brisk weekend, and the Beaverton Winter Carnival is taking place this weekend. So everybody get on Durham Transit and come on up and visit us in beautiful North Durham.
And that's taking place at the fairgrounds?
At the fairgrounds and all fairgrounds.
All of the fairgrounds. Okay.
No, $4.
Councillor Wood.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship, or Your Chair Henry. We're just a couple of days away from the Durham Region 2023 Ontario Parasport Games, and we're anticipating over 400 athletes coming in from all across Ontario to our beautiful region. And I guess the ask is that members of council and our community come out and be the roar. You know, come out and support these athletes. The first time competing in front of probably, if you want to call it, their Olympics. And it'll be held Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And probably every part of Durham Region will be involved in this. Just come out if you have the opportunity to cheer on these young athletes. It'll be the second time we've hosted the Parasport Olympic Games. Well, I'll call it the Olympics because it is their Olympics. And we hosted in 2019, and it was a roaring success. So if you have the opportunity, come out and be the roar. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. And at this time, to add to that, I'd like to thank the countless volunteers that are involved with the games. And those of us who I'm looking around the room, I'm sure we've all played support. Having that hometown advantage and that roar behind you adds a little bit extra to your game. So I look forward to seeing you all there over the course of the weekend. Mayor Roy.
And I can continue on the vein of sports and just a celebration of a young lady from Brooklyn who scored the overtime goal to bring the U18 women's team to gold, and in result that Canada won gold for the women's, and great to celebrate Alex Law. Had it been a little closer, I think I would have been at the gold game. We were in Halifax for the boys, for the men's game, but just couldn't make it to Sweden.
Thank you. Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you. Just to follow up on the good mayor's comments about the scoring from Whitby, just that I also honor that the defense and the goaltending was from Oshawa. So we worked well together. The last point I want to raise, it's just a good news item for my constituency, but also for the city of Oshawa. We had great success with the Del Park Center outdoor ice rink last year, and as of Friday, we will have two with the new Southern Oshawa outdoor ice rink located at Stone Tree Park. So if you like playing some shinny, if you want some chase the stick and puck, or you just want to skate outside next to Lake Ontario, you're welcome to come down and have some fun. It'll operate for hopefully with the cold weather for the next couple of months. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Leahy.
Thank you, Chair. So just this time of year, where I just want to plug the Heart to Heart Gala that's coming up for Catholic Family Services in Durham Region. I've been involved in this organization for almost 10 years. And again, their primary goal is to provide counseling and services to abused women and family. And their annual gala is this Saturday, February 25th. I encourage all members.
That's not this Saturday.
February 25th.
Okay. All right.
4 weeks.
February 4 weeks.
And in and out. February 25th. So lots of opportunities. So it's going to be at Deer Creek. It's the first time they're going back in person after a number of years, and I encourage all members to join. We appreciate your support, and all the great work that you do to support those in the
And Councillor Leahy, members of council wishing to get tickets can go through you.
Yeah, we can go through me as well. Directly to the site, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Speaking of February 25th, the Oshawa Refuge and another of other youth at-risk places such as North House, it's the coldest night of the year. That's probably going to be this Friday from what I understand, but on February 25th, my buddy here, the mayor of Oshawa, and I will be walking in that, trying to raise money to help in Oshawa, the refuge. And of course, what they're doing is transforming the Holy Cross school into 27 apartments, single apartments, transitional apartments for those in need, get them off the street. So that's what some of that money will go to. And if anybody wants to join us, the mayor of Uxbridge came last year and walked with us, which was great. You're welcome again this year, Your Worship. But if anybody wants to donate to the cause, you can go on CNOY 2023. Type in a location. If you want to donate to the Uxbridge one, go in Uxbridge. It'll take you to there. If you want to donate to the refuge, go to Oshawa. Look for my name and put it beside me. I don't get any of that money, but if you want to make the donation, and it's all tax receivable.
Okay. Councillor Chapman, do you have a team name or is it just your name?
This year it's Oshawa Strong. It's I'm not captaining this year because my good friend Rhonda Gorham, from the president of our Oshawa Rotary Club, is team captaining, and it's Rotarians and friends, but that's who we're walking with this year.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Cook.
Thank you. Just to point out to my colleagues here that this weekend, February 2nd through 5th, is Special Olympics Donut Day, sponsored through Tim Hortons, with 100% of the proceeds going to support sport programs for individuals with intellectual disabilities. And there are over 600 registered athletes across Durham region that participate in Special Olympics programs. So have a donut and feel good about it.
Okay, so members of council, that exhausts. Oh, sorry, Mayor Ash. Oh, well, thank you. So let me get you ready. I'll turn your microphone on. So that covers. There is no unfinished business, Mr. Clerk. The last of the business today is to do bylaws and confirming bylaw. There's been no changes to the bylaws today. So Mayor Ash.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's moved by myself and second by Councillor Pickles, who's I think getting his picture taken, but that bylaw numbers 02-2023 to 07-2023 be passed, and that bylaw be dated the first day of February 2023, which also happens to be my 61st birthday.
So congratulations. I cannot accept your seconder because he's not in his seat, so Mayor Foster will be the seconder.
Great, thank you.
Okay. On bylaws, I will call the vote now. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Mr. Clerk, next is the confirming bylaw.
It's moved by myself, second by Councillor Foster, that bylaw number 08-2023 being a bylaw confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Regional Municipality of Durham at their meeting held the first day of February 2023 be passed.
Okay. On the bylaw, all those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Just before we adjourn, just a reminder that lunch will be here. There are pictures still being taken. And if you're still here, please feel free to join us for our staff Black History event in the cafeteria starting at 1 o'clock. And on that note, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Yamada and seconded by Councillor Neal on adjournment. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Have a wonderful, safe day to councillors and staff.